and welcome to this episode of the Lehigh Valley with Love podcast. I'm your host, George Wacker, and today we're on location at Plants Plus Vintage and Domaci Flea on Main Street in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, talking with Emily Phifer and Lily Cooper of Olive and Grace Boutique. Olive and Grace was founded in 2021 by Emily and is a grassroots project in the Lehigh Valley that seeks to serve the needs of girls and young women by providing them with a boutique shopping experience for clothing and hygiene needs. The shop provides all of this for free to the girls through donations from people like you. Today we talk with Emily and Lily about how they got started, how they already have a board of directors, and they've really got some strong, smart people behind them. Some of their previous events, some of the events they have coming up, and how, most importantly, you can get involved and you can help them out. Big thank you to our sponsors. New sponsor, made possible in Lehigh Valley. The Lehigh Valley is rich with possibilities, a proud heritage, a bright future that has long attracted makers, innovators, and those with great vision. Everything you need to create the life you want on your terms. Vibrant downtowns, charming main streets with surprises around every corner, and lots of open spaces to explore. Live, work, learn, play, discover all that's made possible in the Lehigh Valley at LehighValleyMadePossible.com. A big thank you to ArtsQuest. Go to artsquest.org to be sure you find out everything that's going on with them this summer. Of course, our friends at Molly's Irish Grill and Sports Pub, MollysBethlehem.com, and Michael Bernadyn with Remax Realty. Find Mike, and you'll find your next home. One more quick note. We did record this on location at Plants Plus Vintage and Domaci Flea in Bethlehem, and there's a video portion of it. So if you'd like to see the video, you can find that in our show notes in the podcast. And without further ado, let's talk to Emily and Lily from Olive and Grace Boutique. Hello, we're here with Emily and Lily, and we're on location at Plants Plus Vintage, which is overlooking Main Street. If you're watching the video, you may be able to see stuff, or even there's ballet class going on across the street. It's like amazing. I love it down here. And we have to say thank you so much to Angie from Plants Plus Vintage and Domaci Flea, the guys from Domaci Flea. Thank you for allowing us to record here. And thank you guys for coming on and telling us more about Olive and Grace. We're excited to learn more about it. You've been doing a lot of great stuff, and we've been trying to do this podcast for like 7 months.
Yeah.
So we're actually able to get here. It's good. I feel good about it. But let's get into it. Can you give us, I already kind of briefly described in the introduction what Olive and Grace is, but can you tell somebody who has, I have no idea, what is the elevator pitch? Can you give us that?
Yeah, so we are an organization that helps individuals living below the poverty line by producing upscale boutiques in a pop-up setting. So basically we take donations from the community, and then we produce a pop-up boutique, whether that's at a community center or a school or outside somewhere, and then people come and shop as if they were shopping anywhere else, except the catch is that when they get to checkout, they don't pay. Everything we provide is free.
And where did this original idea come from? Is that were talking to people and you identified a need, like there wasn't something like this going on?
So my background is a mix between business and education. So I was working in Allentown with minority populations living in poverty and just kind of saw the need, and then mixed that with seeing a TikTok and sending it to Lily. Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Tell me what that.
Yeah. Do you kind of want to recap that text message that?
Sorry, I'm settled now. I've been running around. Okay, I'm good. So what you had that original idea? You had talked to students, and what was that? What was the TikTok? Because I always love that this new stuff generates.
Well, I remember you texted me about the logo.
Yeah. So that's true.
How you pulled me in.
Yeah. So I texted her and was like, I saw this TikTok, and it's this girl that she created a free boutique, and I was like, It seems awesome. It's a business, it's fashion, it's everything that I love doing in a way to, do outreach, which is just another passion of mine. And so I drew up this terrible logo and sent it to Lily and was like, well, how do we make this better? Also, do you want to be a part of this idea? And genuinely thought she was going to say, you're crazy, let's not do this. It's the middle of a pandemic, first off. And second off, where are we getting anything we need? What are we doing? We live an hour and a half from each other. This is not feasible. And of course, that's not what she said at all.
Yeah, what did you say?
I was so excited. I thought the idea was amazing, really cool. She wanted to pull me in on helping with building a website and getting the social media started up, which is what I do, what I love. And at the time I was unemployed, so I was like, I'm ready to put
this is great
my
idea.
whole self into this and get it jump started. And I was just excited. And
So put us where you guys, so this is 2021 when you had this TikTok epiphany.
Yeah. It was like right after Christmas.
So you're unemployed at the time.
Yes.
What had you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you from the Lehigh Valley? Did you go to school here?
So I went to school at Moravian.
yeah.
I'm not too far. I don't live too far from here, about 45 minutes. But yeah, I went to school at Moravian for marketing.
Great choice.
Doing all the social media website kind of stuff.
Awesome.
So right up my alley. And then I met Emily because she started dating one of my good friends, and that I met at Moravian. So
Well, it's funny how that works out. Okay.
Shameless plug for men.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, but that is like, let's be honest, a lot of these things, generate that way, whether through friendships or what have you, but it doesn't mean that you're going to take that next step to doing what you guys are doing. And Emily, where are you at this time in that?
Yeah, so I was teaching at a school that just really wasn't a great fit.
Sure.
And it was in the middle of the pandemic, and I was kind of losing my mind because
Right.
I had no creative outlet and no way to see anybody, and it was kind of just the perfect way to pull everybody together. So I pulled Lily on, who was unemployed, and then I pulled a graphic designer who was in Jersey, who was also unemployed, onto the team, and kind of just was like, all right, this is what we're doing now. This is what we're doing with our free time.
Yeah.
But my background is I went to Kutztown for marketing.
Okay.
So we kind of have the same background,
Right.
but my, real passion was doing.
What is that? Oh, watch the table. That's what that sound is. See your elbow?
Yep.
See who's on there? Yeah, let's keep it. I was like, is that a truck going by? No, watch, listen. Yeah, okay. Sorry, you guys you don't have the headphones on. So, okay,
Can't hear
we're
you.
good. I'm like, there's an earthquake. No, it's just this old, beautiful wooden table that you can find at Domaci, Flea. This is for sale. All
Take
of
it
this.
home.
You could take
It's
this
really
home. Just don't podcast on it. But so you guys have, you come from these marketing backgrounds. But it's easy, kind of, if you have a marketing background, to put together a logo. It's not so easy to say, I'm going to start a non-profit and do all that. So what is step one in besides, hey, I have this idea, I have a logo. How do you go to, I'm actually going to do this?
So my first job out of undergrad was working for a nonprofit. So that helped a lot.
Okay.
And then my best friend of 14 years actually started a nonprofit too. So I was just very blessed to be kind of in the world. So my first text was to her team to be like, where did you guys start?
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of just like, you just hit the ground running and go for it. And I was like, okay, that's what we're doing then.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to, but even that is a part of it. It's just kind of like you're going to make mistakes, but you need to do something. If you really want to do it, go out and make mistakes. And then along the way, something will work out, or you'll meet other people who can help you.
And that's pretty much what we did. We kind of just went for it and did everything we could think of to do. And then the stuff we couldn't figure out, we just started calling people and being like, hey, like, we have a friend who is much better at web design than either of us.
Right.
And so we called her up and we were like, hey, do you have a couple hours in your week? Can you do this for us?
Did you like sit down and diagram out, this is the flow chart? Because we just touched on it, but you're picking up these donations from people, like you're going to their homes. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like what, in that genesis of, you have to start from, we need to get these items. So did you kind of start there with how do we find them?
Yeah, how did you even do it? That was, I don't know. I woke up one day and Lily had 15 bags
She
of
came
clothes.
back like,
I was like,
look what I
okay.
got to give away.
Sure. So much stuff.
Well, I started when we first decided we're doing this, we're going forward with it. I just talked to my friends and my family, my mom, and
Our own closets,
spread the word
honestly.
on our own closets.
Our own closets was
spread
the
the
first
word.
spot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Easiest place to start.
Then we started that way, and then once we built up our website and our social media and started getting some followers, then it came from other outside sources, like people that I've never met before, which is the goal, is to get the whole community involved.
And you said you're in charge and you help with social media. What, in that initial kind of social media, was it more we need stuff or kind of describing the brand as you guys are growing? Like what?
In the beginning, it was definitely introducing ourselves,
This is what we are, right?
building a following first, and then once I felt we had some base of a following, then started asking for donations.
And then do you do a pop-up shop before you, with your own clothes? Or did you get a decent amount of stuff before you did that first? And what was that first one?
So even before our first pop-up, we had our launch party. Okay.
I haven't done anything.
Which is a weird. It's not the order that you. I don't recommend. I don't recommend doing this in this order. So just
logo launch party. Then starts with.
So we had some really gracious community partners though that really believed in our vision.
Okay.
And so I think our main people were Fox and Finch Studios that donated their space for us to do our launch party. And so they provided a space for us to invite community members to give our pitch and kind of be like, hey, bring donations, bring your, wallets, open them up, and help us get this thing off the ground because we realized that we needed a lot of money fast to make this happen, and half our team was unemployed. So it wasn't coming from us.
And so you go through that pitch. What was your first, I guess that was a pop-up, but what is your first pop-up in the intention of what you were going for?
Creative Tile in Allentown on Cloud Street.
It was actually a year ago.
It was a year ago yesterday.
Yeah.
And was that open, was that for, who was that? Is it for mostly teen girls or is it for anybody with a special, I don't know.
So it started out with a very narrow view. We decided, I kind of ran the demographics and ran the stats and determined that the biggest need was 6th to 12th graders and specifically females. So that was the original vision, it was going to be a teenage girl shop. And then at that first pop-up, we actually had guys showing up looking for stuff. And so we were like, okay, there is more need than we realize, and there is a bigger age need. And so we very quickly went from 6th to 12th grade girls to babies through adults, both genders. And kind of just hit the ground running with that after that initial pop-up, just because there was so much need.
And how did you get the word out on that one? Again, mostly through social? And then
they came to us. They found us and invited us to use their space. Yes. And so what I ended up doing was just canvassing the neighborhood one day. It was hot as heck. I'm dripping sweat walking around Allentown by myself with flyers going, hey, come to our event. It's got free stuff. And people are looking at me like I have 17 heads.
Well, sure.
Because that is not something that we do. People do not do that. People don't walk around Allentown with flyers of anything that's not kind of weird. And people don't give away good free stuff. It's usually kind of, questionable.
Right. So you start out, you're now, let's say then, you're a year from your opening, right? What, I know that you've done some high schools recently. What has that full year kind of been like now that you can kind of look back on it? It's only been exactly a year. But what happened then? How many different pop-ups did you do? Were they mostly schools or were they other?
Yeah, we did 4 prom pop-ups, 1 elementary school, 2 middle schools, I think 1 high school is how it blocked out. And then it's looked very different this year because the schools are a lot more open. So we've really been able to expand those numbers.
Well, let's talk about deciding to start any sort of anything during the pandemic. I guess you could look at it from a couple different ways. Not really. No, you can't. It's not good. It was really difficult. So how do you,
it was a lot of Zoom
Did you have
meetings.
hesitancy from people in doing the pop-ups? I'm sure you guys probably even. Let's be honest, there are times if you wanted to ask someone to put a mask on or not, it can send them the wrong way. So how was that?
Yeah, we started just cold calling schools, which is another thing I don't recommend. This is like the guy who learned how to not.
You would like to come in during COVID?
Yes, yeah.
And okay.
Yeah, so it was, hey, we have this really great thing. We have no data to show you, but if you believe in us, we're going to do great things for your students. Can we have a Zoom meeting? And
what did they would be like, yes?
A couple people said yes. And so we brought on we have an individual who is our school coordinator. She is a current Moravian student. Right. She would hop on, she would give our pitch, and if they liked it, try to schedule something.
So you would have a current Moravian who's enrolled now.
Yes.
Not acting as, being your coordinator, doing Zoom calls with schools,
yes, because
during the school day.
Because I was at my full-time job, so I'm like, I can't do this, so you have to do it.
In between classes.
So in between classes, she would take meetings. She's a superstar. But she would take these meetings and start scheduling stuff out and getting contacts so that then I could go in and follow up, kind of from a little bit more of a robust professional side of, okay, this is exactly what we offer. This is the dates we're available. What is your requirement and how do we get into the building? Okay. And usually it was, you can't get in, you're going to do it outside. And the people that know us and know how Olive and Grace rolls, every single time, without fail, that we have ever had an event, including today, it has rained.
Oh, really?
Every single time.
That's good luck.
Every single time. So being told that we would be outside during the first year and pandemic was...
We can't.
Yeah, we lived like ducks.
Are you now, as we're going into the spring, believe it or not, in summer, schools won't be open. So what is the plan for that then? Are you targeting a place like we're in now? Like what are you doing over the summer?
So yeah, I mean, a lot of it happens right at the end of the school year so that students are prepared for the summer, just because our summer,
that makes sense, yeah.
Our summer tends to be our break period where
when you're gathering stuff.
Yeah, it's a big donation season. It's a lot of like team meetings, board meetings, kind of just reevaluating for fall.
But you have a board?
Yeah.
Man, I don't have anything. I've been doing this for a long time. You've been doing it for a year. Okay.
Yeah, I can.
No, that's impressive. That's good.
Let me run through our board real quick. So I have my VP is Deanna Stavinsky. She's another Moravian graduate. She studied marketing management. Matt Nestor, our treasurer, handles all of our money. Matt. Lily is our secretary, and then we have an executive director who is my father, Troy.
Well, I'm sure Troy's doing a good job. No, but I mean, that's smart. It's a really good way. Like, for any, whether it's a business or a nonprofit, where I learned the most was asking questions or shutting up and watching how successful people worked, and looking at it that way. So it just sounds like your work in the nonprofit sector. You're like, okay, I see how something successful works. We should model it in that sense.
Absolutely.
So, well, then let's talk about donations. You're not, when I go to donate clothing, let's be honest, it'll be like the Salvation Army. They have these convenient, bins. I know that it's not probably the best. There's some people who say don't do that. So for people who want to get in touch with you, I think that's what it is on your website, right? Get in touch with us and we'll come get it. How does that work?
Yeah, do you want to run through that?
Yeah, so you can go on our website and we have a link that will take you to a page and you can schedule, like you're scheduling an appointment for a donation pickup. So we'll come to you. You can leave it on your porch.
And what is the stuff? Because again, you guys went from this is for teenage girls to now it's for everybody. But does that, you don't want my VHS tapes, I'm assuming?
No, yeah. So very, very specifically, we want clothing and shoes, and then they can be new or used. We love stuff with tags, which is always a bonus.
Yes.
But and then hygiene items, we ask that they're unopened, just because it's hygiene products.
Okay.
But I always use the catchphrase like, I do not want your mustard stained track shirt from 2005. Because we really pride ourselves on setting ourselves apart from a Goodwill, a Salvation Army, because not only is the stuff free, but it is higher quality, on trend, in season.
And that kind of brings me to the point of this. When you set up, and I think when we talked before, when you first were telling me about how this works, it's an experience from the moment you walk in, whoever is going in. But can you kind of describe what it's like? Both of you can, either way. Like, if this was at Freedom High School, for example, you did one there, right?
Yep.
What was the process like? If I walked in from start to finish, how does it work?
Yeah, so, the students come up, we typically greet them, try to get a feel for what they're looking for. So, like, for prom, for example, the first question is always, like, do you have your dress? Do you have your shoes? Who are you going with? Are you going with friends? Do you have a date? Just kind of, like, getting them comfortable, because you're building a relationship. It's not, okay, what do you need? Like, building the relationship and then finding out what that need is, whether it's a long dress, it's a short dress, it's a blue dress, it's a white dress, like getting them to a place where they're comfortable, sharing that information with you, and then helping them shop. So we walk with the girls through the racks, we're pulling stuff, we're zipping them into the dresses when they try them on. Like, it is an intimate experience, and it is personalized because we want them to look good and feel good.
And forgive me, but I would imagine that experience is not sometimes shared by every person, or there are some students who maybe have never had that experience.
Correct.
Where someone is asking them, what do you like? Or, or maybe giving them tips on fashion. I'm just,
exactly.
Is that part of it too?
Right. Yeah, and that really is it. It's these students don't go to the mall and just get to shop like we do. Like, that's not a normal thing for them. And so giving them that opportunity and that experience to literally have someone wait on them. and be like doting on them.
Like asking them questions.
Yeah. And so, then once they find their dress, we set up like a photo area where they get their picture taken, and then Lily's able to use that on our social media, but it's also like fun for them. Typically their friends are taking pictures behind them, they're getting selfies, and then we bag everything up and we send them on their way. And then we send them with our information, and we always let them know that we don't just do the prom stuff, that we always have other things, that if there's ever a need that they can reach out to us and have that done. So like I have a couple girls right now that I'm pulling prom dresses for that aren't at a school that has sponsored a pop-up for us, that we are going to arrange some sort of meetup because we know that they need dresses.
Right. And what was I going to say? As we work to get out of the summer when we're going to be donating and people can find out, what is the website again? I know it's in the show notes, but for those who want to...
Yes.
Or I can just say it.
It's a QR code. That's QR code.
All right, never mind.
Scan the QR code.
Scan the QR code.
It's olivegboutique.com.
olivegboutique.com. So they can go there for more information as they get, we're kind of out of the pop-up season, right?
Yeah.
So what is your plan then for when, after the donation season, we get back in the fall? Are you going to go back into schools? I guess we'll talk about, are you looking for more pop-up stuff like this is what I'm saying? And where are you trying to go with it as you're expanding here?
Yeah, so we had originally just been targeting Allentown and Bethlehem, and we've since moved into the Easton area and kind of a little bit north of what is traditionally like the valley. And
where was north of the valley?
Like Slatington, Palmerton.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's
I just didn't know if you were going to say like Bangor, and then we could is that in the Lehigh Valley or not? Which it is. Okay, go on.
I'm not trying to start an argument.
No, I was just curious. But yes, Slatington.
Yeah, so a little bit more up north because it's the small towns have as much need as our big cities do down here,
and they might not get as much attention just because there's not many people.
Exactly.
Right.
So kind of just finding out where the connections are and figuring out who we need to partner with. So we typically try to figure out whether it's an assistant principal or a guidance counselor or a social worker that can get us in the door and advocate on our behalf, because it is hard for us to advocate for ourselves.
And I would imagine that there might even be teachers or employees at some of these schools who would want to reach out to you without you even coming in because they don't have something like that.
And we recently had 2 individuals reach out to us and initiate conversation about having pop-ups where we hadn't even touched base with them yet, which was awesome because, anything that's organic feels so much more natural then.
And do you need volunteers too? Is that ever, because you sound like you're doing a lot. At some point you run out of arms, right?
I think we have run out of arms at this point. I think we have, Yeah, the biggest thing is like those donation pickups are tedious and laborious, and I'm currently doing them mostly myself.
Well, that could be good on gas. What I'm saying, that could be anywhere. If someone's like, come to my house in Slatington, and then you have another pickup in Easton, of course. Like that's a pain. So those sort of things. Are you looking, I don't know, when I think of something like this, will pop up, is the idea maybe it would ever be a brick and mortar location? Is that, you never want to paint yourself in a corner, but is that something that you think about or whatever?
Yeah, we've toyed. That was, I think, kind of originally where we thought this was going to go. Was we were going to
open up a retail shop during COVID.
We were going to get a spot. We were going to get a retail location during COVID. We're a very ambitious little group.
No, I think it's fantastic. You're like, this will end at some point, and we're going to be ahead of the game. It's smart. So
we would love to have some sort of stationary location where it's in a community where the girls and the guys can come and shop, but also we would still be doing these pop-ups just because we know that access is such a key part of our mission, and leveling that field of we can come to you. You don't need to come to us.
And isn't that kind of like your personality too? Is that whole we're popping up and we're bringing this experience to you? How does it? I guess it's kind of wind down here, but. How does it feel to work with your friends? Like it seems like everyone that you're working with, you have great relationships. I know that you can get sick of anybody, but seriously though, it seems like you guys are really embarking on something really worthwhile together. Has that helped you? I would imagine, if I'm working with my friend, I don't want to let them down. and we're all working on something together. Like, has it been that type of relationship?
Yeah, I feel like at first maybe wasn't like the best manager, and like I've learned a lot of like good skills of like honestly like just trusting your friends to follow through on stuff, and like they've all been amazing. I have literally no complaints, and I'm not just blowing smoke up the butt.
Lily, for you, like when we were setting up, like you guys are finishing a TikTok and doing that, like how has social media marketing for this been for you? Like, are you having are you trying new things? Like, clearly you guys are advertising on TikTok, or not at least advertising, but making content for it. What kind of stuff have you been doing?
I think the biggest thing, most fun I've had, just like creating our own content. Like, I know the job I have now, I do social media stuff, but it's all like structured. Like, I don't really get to pick what we do.
Can you sign up on this?
It's like it's in finance, there's like compliance stuff, so it's totally different when I do
finance
now. So,
social media work.
Yes, so
it's exciting.
Just working with Olive and Grace, I think it's really fun. Like, Emily lets me have a lot of creative freedom to kind of go where, I mean, obviously you kind of put a direction to it, but it's just fun to...
Well, yeah, I would just imagine it has to be fun to be in some of those moments, when you meet someone who's like, that is the dress, or like, that is something I've been looking for, or that kind of,
I think we've all cried at least once at an event.
It's like it rains and then we're required to cry.
Because you get those moments of like being surrounded by individuals that are also just as equally passionate about the same idea, and then seeing like literal dreams come true in front of you is like surreal. It is.
I think it was for me at our Wilson pop-up the other week. We had people lined up at the door like before we even opened, and
I
did not expect that at all.
You guys here for us? Like,
I was like,
that's wild.
You're all coming like to look at our dresses? Like, really?
Yeah, that's
so cool.
Awesome though. And are you a 501? Are you in the?
We officially applied 2 weeks ago.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't want to get you like in trouble.
6 more weeks. Don't apply for a 501c3 during tax season. Let me tell you.
I don't want to get you in trouble with the IRS. Okay.
No. Yeah. They know about us.
They do now. Because leads to my next question too. Then I think we had talked, and you're like, hey, if there are people out there or organizations who are looking for different ways to give back to the community, maybe give you guys a call as well. I mean, of course, there are a million awesome organizations in Lehigh Valley, but what's one more, especially one that's going in and doing the stuff that you're doing? So is that something where they can email you?
Absolutely, yeah. And then the email's the same as the website, olivegBoutique@gmail.
And all of that stuff is in the show notes. So yeah, is there anything else that you guys want to say? Like, is there anything that we missed? Is there anything coming up like in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, so to kind of kick off spring, we're having a garden party.
Okay.
So it is going to be our, first fundraiser since the launch. Just because we are at the point where we need to start looking to go bigger and better.
Sure.
And that requires money, unfortunately. So yeah, we have that coming up Saturday, May 14th.
Okay.
It's going to be over at Relevant Allentown, which is a church on Cedar Crest.
Okay.
They're also our main storage space, so they graciously allowed us to kind of take over their basement and set up shop down there. Yeah.
So that's awesome.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
right?
We love them.
It's a big help.
But we have some sponsors. We've got the Iron Pig sent us some tickets to raffle off. We've got Franklin Hills is going to be our wine vendor for that event. It's going to be $25 a person. You can get the tickets ahead of time. We have the links all over our social media. There's going to be lawn games. But granted, it's an Olive and Grace event, so it'll probably rain.
We're not going to do that. Knock on wood.
Umbrella.
Yeah, bring your umbrella, bring your raincoats. We're going to have live music. We have 2 girls coming from Moravian University to play for us, which is awesome that they're willing to give us their time.
Food,
drinks.
Yep.
Listen, I'm excited. Like, I know we're like joking around at like the organizational skills and everything, but really, it's awesome. Like, it's awesome that you're saying, I want to do this, and I'm going to take the work. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of work, and you're putting that in. So I think it's awesome, and people can learn from you. I mean, I know you're only on the year in, but besides all the mistakes that you made that worked out, but I think it's fantastic, and I wish you guys the best. And all the information that we talked about is in the show notes, olivegBoutique.com, right? olivegBoutique.com. ologBoutique@gmail.com. And all the other information, like I said, is in there. Look for them on social media. Emily and Lily, thank you so much. Thank you again also to Plants Plus Vintage. It's been nice up here. We should do more. I don't mind this at all. It's fantastic. We're upstairs on the second floor overlooking Main Street in downtown Bethlehem. And Plants Plus Vintage is in a space that is also occupied by Domaci Flea, and they have a lot of fun stuff too. You should do a pop-up here.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another big thank you to Emily and Lily. You know, it's not every day people are just starting their own nonprofits and doing it during COVID and finding results right away. You know, they deserve a lot of credit for this. Emily especially for coming up with the idea and running with it. So congrats to them. Really interested in learning more. And thank you again to Domaci Flea, Plants Plus Vintage. Perfect location, not only for a podcast, but also to buy all the wonderful things that they have. We really encourage you to check them out. Big thank you again to our sponsors who make all this possible, made possible in Lehigh Valley. LehighValleyMadePossible.com, Molly's Irish Grill and Sports Pub in South Bethlehem, ArtsQuest, artsquest.org, and of course, Michael Bernadyn with Remax Realty. Find Mike and you're going to find your new home. Thank you again. This is fantastic. We look forward to doing more episodes this summer, and we will talk to you next week.